Hello, my name is Richie Arlano, and these are my user stories that are completed for our Milestone 1 sprint. The two user stories I did were environmental traps and hidden traps, having the player facing issue of sense of danger throughout their journey to the end of the level. Now I will open up the build on Perforce to show you what I've completed. So my first user story is environmental traps. As a player, I want the environment to change around me because I want a sense of danger with every step I make. The player will be faced with falling boulders from the ceiling and weak flooring that will crumble from underneath the player's feet. So the first object here is the falling boulders. The player will be faced with random falling boulders that will either try to knock them off if they are climbing, or basically have them respawn if they fall victim to them underneath certain areas. So as you see, as I walk through, we have boulders coming down, randomly coming down at different spots. If the player is hit by one, they will respawn back to a checkpoint. Now, they will not know these areas are here, so basically if they're walking through or not running fast enough, they will get hit by one of these boulders, so they have to run through as fast as possible. The next is, of course, the falling floors. The player will be faced with platforms or floors that will break away, causing them to fall to their death. Again, the player will not know about these ahead, so again, they will have to be cautious with every step they take. So if a player steps on a floor that will fall, pretty much they have a couple of seconds to move, or the floor will fall beneath them and they will fall to their death, having them respawn back to a current checkpoint. That is the user story that's completed by the environmental traps throughout the level. Next is the hidden traps, which we'll get to further down the level as I travel over there. So the next user story is, as a player, I want to encounter hidden obstacles because I want more of a challenge along my journey. The player will be faced with hidden traps that will come out of the floor and walls. Now, the completion criteria for this is the player will step on a hidden trigger that will have the spikes come out of the floor or wall. So in front of me, there is a hidden trigger for the wall spikes. So if I hit this, spikes will come out of the wall. If I hit this one down here, spikes will come out of the floor. Now, the player should be able to have the ability to jump or run past these spikes. So if the player is fast enough, they should be able to jump over these, which they do with ease. If I lift this up and jump over it, they should be able to make it through. Okay, let's just try this one more time. So if I trigger this, I should be able to jump over them, which I can. So that's what the player should be able to do, is clear the spikes without a problem. If the player comes up and hits one of these triggers, they should be able to run past these walls like this, which they can. Next part is basically the player will be respawned back to a checkpoint if they hit the spikes. So if the player hits the floor spikes, they should be respawned back to a specific checkpoint. So we hit by spikes and we're respawned back to a specific checkpoint. The other part of this was pretty much if the player is hit by the wall spikes and pushed off the level, that's where they're respawning as well. So the criteria for the floor spikes is if they're hit by them, they'll respawn. With the wall spikes, if you're not fast enough, you get pushed off and hit a respawn zone to be respawned back to the checkpoint. So those are my two user stories completed with the criteria that they needed to basically put in the level in our placeholder level. Again, my name is Richie Arlano, and now on to our next teammate and their user story. Thank you.